Shalom Aleichem. Mishnah Yomi is holding in the 10th and final Mishnah of the first chapter of Beitzah. Now, yesterday we talked about sending gifts of food items, prepared or somewhat prepared. Now we say misholchin kalim. One can send kalim. Now, kli usually means a utensil. It also means a garment. In this case, we're going to see it means some sort of clothing or shoes. Bain tefurin, whether they're sewn shut, they're finished. Bain she'ein tefurin, or if it's not quite finished, because those could still be used to cover oneself on Yom Tov. You understand, if there's like a sweater and the front's not sewn shut, well, it's still a vest. The afal pi, and even though sheyesh ben kilayim, even if there is kilayim, which is the famously forbidden mixture of wool and linen, we do not wear any garment or have enjoyment from such a garment by wearing it that contains wool and linen together. And the Gemara explains a garment with shatnez can't be used. So we're really not talking about a garment here. We're talking about something that's stiff and hard, like a couch cushion. Now, again, the sages discuss if the couch cushion has loose threads, and these threads could be shatnez, kilayim, wool and linen, that's still a problem. But if it's something very hard, there's no loose threads that are going to come around your body and warm up your body. It's like a hard cushion. It could be used. The hen l'tzorich moed. The Mishnah adds, this is when he needs it for Yom Tov. You wouldn't send somebody a gift of the suit they're going to wear, especially for a wedding. Maybe you don't send them like a night dress that they're going to wear for a night wedding, a few weeks from now on Yom Tov, but a day dress that they could wear on Yom Tov day. You send it during the day, maybe that would be suitable. Avalo sandal hamasumar, but not a sandal with nails in it. Now, we mentioned this in the Mishnah in Shabbat, that there was a rabbinical prohibition from wearing such a sandal on Shabbat and Yom Tov, and this was a reminder of an unfortunate incident that happens, and we are holding in the 9 days just before Tisha B'Av, so it's appropriate to discuss. There was a time when there were a lot of Jews hiding perhaps from the Greeks, perhaps from the Romans, and they were hiding there, learning Torah, doing mitzvot, and they heard clomping above the roof of their bunker, their hideout, and they thought it was the Romans coming in to kill them. And there was a stampede for the exit, the escape hatch, and some Jews perished trying to stampede out, trying to escape. And the Gemara comments even more Jews were, God forbid, killed in the stampede, in the trample, in the chaos, than were actually killed by the Romans, by the enemies outside. Now, some say it was spiked sandals of the enemies walking on the roof that caused the commotion, and some say it was because they had these nails in the sandals of the people inside the cave that caused them to injure other Jews. And since it is the 9 days, this is a stark reminder that sometimes Jews cause more harm to other Jews than we ever feel harm from outsiders. And this could be, of course, through Lashon Hara and through disrespect between Jews, can be more damaging because we are, God willing, we are supposed to feel like one family unit and not feel like enemies. So when Jews turn against other Jews, it's really a terrible thing. The Mishnah continues, "V'lo minol she'eno tafur," and not with a shoe that is not sewn. You can't use it if it's not ready to be a shoe. Rabbi Yehuda Omer, "Af lo minol lavan," not a white shoe, mipnei shetzarich uman, because it needs uman. It needs like a expert craftsmanship to finish it off. Meaning there was a process. This shoe was still white. It was raw, like the leather was raw. There was still a process to put the blackening on the shoe and to finish it up, polish it off, so it becomes a proper shoe. Ze'eklal, this is the general rule. Kol she'ne'otin bo b'Yom Tov mishachanto. Anything that can be used immediately and get hana from on Yom Tov, you can send it. Like we said yesterday, they could send an animal that needs shchita, and then they'll use it on Yom Tov. So Mazel Tov, let's go on to the second chapter. Yom Tov shechaliot erev Shabbat. When Yom Tov was Friday, lo yevashel adam batchila b'Yom Tov l'Shabbat. A man may not begin cooking for the first time on Yom Tov for the needs of Shabbat. Aval, but mevashohu liyom tov. He can cook for Yom Tov, and we'll see he can cook extra. V'im hotir, if there's leftovers, hotir l'Shabbat. He can eat those on Shabbat. Ve'ov se tavshil me'erev Yom Tov, or someone could start cooking already on Thursday. The somech alav l'Shabbat, and he will rely on this cooking for Shabbat. This is the famous eruv tavshilin that we set up when we have a Yom Tov right before Shabbat. Now, going back a second to the first clause of the Mishnah, the cooking extra on Yom Tov itself, when it's mutter to cook for Ochel Nefesh, we rely on a concept the Gemara explains of hoil. Hoil means since, we just call it hoil, but it's hoil since guests could come on Yom Tov afternoon, on Friday afternoon, and need a loaf of bread and need something to eat. You can go ahead and cook on Yom Tov afternoon, even though it's not so common that guests show up. But yeah, they might show up. The neighbors might pop in, and you want to give them something that's fresh made, and you could eat that food on Shabbat. Now, the second part, the eruv tavshilin section, about you begin your cooking on Thursday and you rely on it for Shabbat. Basically, what's going on is if you started preparing for Shabbat already on Thursday, you could continue the preparations on Friday, which is a Yom Tov, for your Shabbat food. So it's not that one is Yevashel Batchila. He's not beginning his Shabbos preparations on Friday, which is Yom Tov. He's beginning his Shabbos preparations on Thursday. He's already well underway, and he has something to eat for Shabbos, and he could continue and add more. However, guests could come on Yom Tov. You could go ahead and cook some more. So what is this eruv tavshilin? Beit Shammai omrim shnei tavshilin, 2 different cooked dishes. If you've already made 2 cooked dishes Thursday for Shabbat, you could keep cooking on Friday. Beit Hillel omrim tavshil echad. It could be 1 cooked dish. V'shavin b'dog Beitzah, and they agree with a fish and an egg, Beitzah olov, that there's an egg on the fish. They cook a fish with an egg on it. Shen shnei tavshilin, even though it's cooked in 1 pan or 1 pot, but the egg and the fish are 2 different foods, even when cooked together. That counts as 2 dishes, and Beit Shammai is happy. That's a valid eruv tavshilin. Now the Mishnah concludes, Achalo o sha'avad, if somebody by mistake ate the eruv tavshilin, or it got lost, or the dog got a hold of it, lo yivashol of batchila. So lechatchila, you should not cook on Friday for the needs of Shabbos. If there's anything left, somech alav l'Shabbat. You could rely on the fact that, yes, there's some food left that we began cooking on Thursday for the purposes of eating on Shabbat, to continue cooking on Friday for the needs of Shabbat. Yashar kochachem and zay gesund. We shall be zoche that the dog does not eat our eruv.